guys, today I'm going to make corned beef from scratch. I forgot it was almost St. Patrick's Day, and I was in the grocery store and they had brisket on sale. And we're out of meat in the freezer right now, so I've been having to buy a little bit of beef. But the brisket was on sale. I rarely buy the trimmed brisket. I mean, this was trimmed, but it was on sale and it was cheaper than the regular brisket that you buy. What I'm going to do with that is I'm going to make a brine, and I'll show you what I put in it. And you got to bring the brine up, heat it, let it simmer until all the salts and sugars are dissolved. And then when it's cool, we'll put the brisket in and let it corn away. Sorry about that, guys. Someone drove in the driveway and little Frankie thinks he has to let us know over and over and over and over again. See if that makes a difference. Not really. Okay, what I've got in my big stock pot here, I'll show you, it's a pretty good size one. I've got 2 gallons of water, and I'm going to add 4 cups of kosher salt. And I hope I've got 4 cups. I noticed it's getting low. And as you know, I buy in bulk. 1. You also know I forget. I lose count very easily. Frankie is still grumbling. I'll be back. Okay, I've added the 6 cups of salt, 1 cup of sugar, 4 tablespoons of pickling spices. Now this is homemade. I think y'all know that I make my own spice blends from scratch. You can buy this at the store. I like homemade. Anyway, it's got cloves and cinnamon, bay leaf, allspice, mace, 1, 2, 3, 4. And a little bit more for good measure. Then it also calls for 2 ounces of number 1 cure salt, pink cure salt. I've measured out 2 ounces on my scale. Spilled some on the scale, so I got to put that in there. Now, I want to talk to you about this cure salt. This is not Himalayan pink salt. This is not Morton's Quick Cure. This is called pink salt number 1, and there's also a number 2. These are both used in curing meats, and there is a difference between the number 1 and the number 2. Also, this can be poisonous if large amounts are taken. Never ever use it as table salt. So what I do is I've got, actually had to buy it from a friend because I ran out. And I've got a couple friends here in town that cure their own meat and do that. And so I got a hold of him, and he happened to have a bag of it. So just make sure you don't use this as regular table salt. And make sure that when you are curing meat or making pepperoni or any of that kind of stuff, that you know the difference with what you're using. They're not interchangeable. Again, it's not Morton Quick Salt, or Morton Quick Cure, and it is not Himalayan pink salt. It's pink curing salt. And then it also calls for 6 cloves of minced garlic. So I'm going to get the garlic minced up right now. And in the meantime, I'm going to get this brine heated up. And after I mince the garlic, get it peeled and minced, I'll put it in here. Remember, I'm going to keep the skins and all the trash in my vegetable bag for vegetable broth. But I've got to heat it up until the sugars dissolve and cool it down, and I'll be back after that. I got to go give the old farmer a haircut. Be back in a bit. Okay guys, I'm back. Woohoo! Well, let me change that. Is that a little bit better? Anyway, I've heated this up. This is that brine that we made. Dissolved the salts and the sugars, and I put it outside. It's cold, and I think you've heard me say that before. I put a lid on it and put a big old brick on top so no critters can get it, and it cools down. I use that as a refrigerator. Anyway, I've cut my brisket in half, and basically just so it'll fit in the pan, and I've washed it off. So this brisket was just under 9 pounds, and the recipe that I have here is for 10 pounds of meat. Oh, the idea now is we're going to let it brine, or corn, for 1 to 2 weeks. I'll probably do it a week, maybe 10 days. I put a plate on top of it to make sure that the meat gets held down, and you put it in your refrigerator or my back deck because it's cold, and I'll put my big old heavy brick, and I'll probably check it every 2 or 3 days, make sure that it's still under the plate, which I know it will be, and I'll come back when we're ready, when it's all corned, when I've got it brined and ready to go. All right, what is that? Oh, that's water I slopped washing the brisket. All right, see y'all in a week or two. Hey guys, I'm back. Woo! Time flies when you're having fun. Well, I've had this, it's been 10 days, and I've had this brisket in the brine. And first I'm going to take the plate off. I'm going to run it over to the sink. Oh, that was noisy. Okay, take the brisket out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse it off, take it over the sink, rinse it really well. And I imagine you guys know what I'll be doing with part of it. Half of it is going to go in the oven today, and I'm going to slow cook it. And we're going to have everything corned beef this week. The other half, I'm going to cut it up and can it. I think I've done a video on canning corned beef. If I haven't, I'll do one. And this is raw meat, so you're going to can it the same way you would any other raw meat. And funny story about brisket is corned beef. First time I made corned beef, nobody would eat it. The old farmer's always eaten anything I've made, but he wouldn't eat it, and it was so bad the dogs wouldn't eat it. Guys, I'm German, and I have a little bit of Irish in me. Now you would think I would know how to make corned beef. Didn't have a clue. So who taught me how to make corned beef? My daughter-in-law. She's Italian and Native American. Go figure. Anyway, since she taught me how to make corned beef, it's one of our favorite. We really like it. And so I'm going to get this going. And if I haven't done a video on canning corned beef, I'll be back. And then I'll show you what I do with it as I put it in the oven. Okay guys, I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do when I bake it. I've got some foil here. It's not wide enough, but I've got my roasting pan. Remember, we started out with approximately a 10-pound brisket. So I'm going to wrap it in foil. And anybody that's cooked brisket, it's kind of tough, so you want to cook it, slow cook it. I'm going to wrap it in the foil. Fat side up so that all the fat and the juices cook down through the meat. And remember, I rinsed it well. And actually, I didn't get enough foil, so I'm thinking I'm going to get another piece of foil and wrap it tight. I want to keep that steam in there to help cook it. At the end then, I'm going to take it out, or take the foil off, and I guess caramelize it, you call it, but we kind of like the crispy pieces in the meat when I roast it. And I'll come back when I get ready to stick it in there. Wrapped up good and tight in some foil. I'm going to stick the pan in the oven at 350 degrees, and you figure about an hour per pound. So we're going to go with, this is 4.5, 5 pounds. So it'll be in the oven for 5 hours. I'll be checking it, but now I want to remind you that when you have cured meat like this, the insides will still be pink. So you're going to have to use a, well, it'll be more than well done. I mean, more than done, because checking it with a meat thermometer. But it may look rare, but it's not. It's that curing of the meat, the curing salt, that makes it look pink. All right, guys, I'm going to pop this in the oven, and we'll be back in 5 hours. I wonder if it'll go as fast as the 10 days did when we had it in the brine. Let's just wait and see. All right, guys. Well, I took a picture of the corned beef roast, whatever you want to call it, and I ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4 pints, which is 4 pounds of corned beef, and that's a half pint. And remember what I always say, never run a canner half full. So I had Cinnamon Girl filled to the brim. And guess what's in the back? Guess what I filled my canner with? Beans. Beans, beans, beans. You just can't get enough. All right, guys. I'll see y'all later. If I think about it, I'll share some of my corned beef things that I do with that leftover.